It is Wednesday, the 18th day of June, and I've returned to a bit of a break due to that old work-life balance thing, where there really isn't a balance. You're just spending a lot of time working. A lot has happened over the past couple of weeks. There's a lot to talk about. More drama in the Middle East, thanks Israel. More drama in America, thanks America, I guess. Or rather, thanks dear leader. And more drama in Boston, thanks John Henry. There's a lot to discuss, though I will simply whine about most of that. Honestly, every single topic that I thought of is just kind of depressing in its own way. That's not to say that everything is depressing, because I don't think that's accurate, but it's just every topic is a bit depressing. Like war, fake wars, baseball, all very similar in being depressing in their own way. What's left to do? Good question, Dave. I'm not entirely sure these days. We could talk about some of these things. Some of these things I won't talk about because, what's the point? But this is likely to be sports heavy, Miko, so I do apologize. But it'll be far too much about Rafi Devers, a bit of golf, a bit of hockey, snack foods, and wrapping up with three gripes. Um, yeah, even after, a couple of weeks of not being around, I don't have a ton to talk about or a ton that I want to talk about, which is, as I mentioned, a bit depressing in and of itself. But we will soldier on, because that's what we do here, right? On episode number 190 of Complaints and Observations.
Still, a voyage into the mundane and an exercise in futility. Swimming in the absurd while drowning in unearned self-importance. Entirely unworthy of your time. It is the world's worst podcast. This is Complaints and Observations with Dave LaPointe. Who the hell is Dave LaPointe?
I think he's a bum. I think he's an absolute bum.
All right, what's going on? Happy Wednesday. And a big shout out to the hosting company that I pay to do this shit, changing their platform yet again. Like, God forbid we just leave shit alone. Everything needs to be fucking changed, manipulated. It was fine the way it was. But nope. This whole thing is becoming very AI driven, which is infuriating in a number of different ways. And look, I've already sort of taken up the mantle of being that like crusty old guy when it comes to AI, because I've seen Terminator 2 far too many times to know that this is going to end well when Skynet rises up and takes over. And this is just the beginning. But people will be like, "Oh no, that's not it." Like, please, shareholders will do everything in their power to increase profits, which is kind of funny because if you start doing things to eliminate jobs, there's not going to be any money left for anybody to spend. But as with most business, money is just made up. Most numbers are made up. I'm convinced. I'm probably 10,000% wrong. But when you see numbers thrown around that are just obnoxious in a number of different formats for a number of different industries, you kind of get a little suspicious, because it's not as if the general public is making more money with which to spend. Like wages have been stagnant for 5 years plus, like pre-pandemic. I don't know. That's a that's a topic for never. But yeah, had Wednesday I wasn't around because I had to take the day off. Well, I had to go to the office, okay? Now, hear me out, okay? So I don't dislike my job. Like I do like my job to a certain extent. Like there are parts of my job that I can't stand, which is like the, talking to customers part. But I do like what I do. I really like the people that I work with. And for the most part, the people that I work for. Like I'm somewhat content with the company. Like there are a lot of things I wish they did different, but whatever. It's a small price to pay to have a job that you can tolerate. And I have a job that I can tolerate, so I'm fine. Wish I made more money, but whatever. Again, it's another topic for never. However, if you've ever worked in an office, you might be somewhat familiar with dumb shit like this where culture is a big deal. And I'm not saying that like office culture is dumb because I don't really think it is. Mainly because you have to have some level of kumbaya bullshit to kind of keep people engaged and happy and things like that, right? But there are certain times where you go overboard. And so last week, the entire week, we had something that was called Spirit Week, and quite frankly, it was mostly terrible. Wednesday was going to be Field Day, Spirit Week Field Day. And I can see what you're saying now. You're all looking at your screen, your various device with which you've decided to look at this, and you're saying, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" Well, I had the same reaction. My reaction was also, "What the fuck?" Because I'm 47 years old. I haven't had a field day since I think it was 6th grade. That was a big deal in Rainham. Was like maybe it was 8th grade field day. I don't know, but it was junior high school. So I was no older than 14, which if you can do math was a long time ago. And so here, field day was going to include all of the standard field day events. I was hoping for egg toss. We didn't get egg toss, mainly because I crushed at egg toss. I was really good at that back in the day. But apparently, the company did not have the budget for a dozen or so eggs. Right. Um, so this basically included, potato sack races, three-legged races, and the thing that I knew I wasn't going to enjoy, Dizzy Bat. If you recall Dizzy Bat, basically what this thing is it's a race where people will go from one line to the next, grab the bat, spin around X number of times, and then try to run back to the other line in a straight manner. Now, the problem is the idea is that you get dizzy when you spin around. So, yeah, it's like, okay, here we go. And, my gut told me, David, this is probably not the best idea. But, trying to be the team player and the resident grandpa in the office, um, off I went on Dizzy Bat. And so, spun around, dizzy as fuck, go to run back, and what happens? I fall. Not only do I fall, but it's a horrible unbalanced fall. So I could not. I was so dizzy that I could not figure out how to break my fall or kind of tuck and roll or something. Nope. I fell flat onto my right side, my fucking upper chest, my arm, the whole nines. And at the time didn't really feel much. I knew it was going to hurt. And sure enough, now here we are a week later, and I'm finally kind of getting over some of it, but not all of it. Like the chest part of it, it fucking like if I cough, it hurts. If I sniffle, it hurts. And it made me realize that I've aged more in the last 2 months than the previous 46 plus years combined. Because everything just has decided to go out of whack. Like I played golf on Monday and now everything hurts. Like my wrist is absolutely killing me and I can't figure out why. It can't be from golf. I guess it could, but like I have a foot that's not cooperating. So yeah, so that's why I missed the show last week because I felt the need to participate in that stupid shit. But guess what? That's it. From now on, I will be a spectator in these things. Like I just can't. I can't keep up with these kids in a variety of different ways. I figured out a long time ago that I can't keep up with them drinking, and that was bad. Um, but now in any form of athletic activity, even for look, previously bit of a nimble fat guy, right? It was okay in terms of like getting around and doing shit. It was fine, but now I'm just a beat up old guy, and I don't know what to do. Well, Dave, you could get off your fat ass and exercise. Yes, thank you, disembodied voice. I get that. I try. Trust me when I tell you I try. It's not for a lack of effort. It really isn't. But anyway. So yeah. So that's how the last week or so has gone. Um, but I figured I would share. Not that anyone cares, but it is what it is, right? It's my show. It's what I do. A couple things that I did want to talk about. I wanted to talk about the U.S. Open. Holy smokes, was that course fucking hard? And you know what pissed me off, and this kind of bothered me, right? This was the sort of event where people were probably quite interested in what the course was doing to really good players. And I could be wrong, but watching these guys struggle, and most people that watch golf play the game. So they have a reasonable understanding of how difficult the game is. And it is. It's a very difficult game. While it is somewhat simple in its design, it's a difficult game. And when you put world class players on a course that's designed to literally bend them over, then fuck them, that's appointment viewing. And I don't think NBC did a good job with their coverage at all because I mean, I wanted to watch as much as I like these guys all they seem like decent humans. Like Rory McIlroy, I don't dislike this guy, but I want to see him struggle. I do. DeChambeau, I want to see him struggle. I want to see them all get visibly frustrated when a shot that they think they can make goes horribly awry. And the thing of it is, right? I was able to watch a little bit of some like spotlight groups on Peacock, where it was you got Spieth. I think it was like Spieth, McIlroy, and somebody else on Friday, and you watch them play like shit. But the problem was NBC doesn't go back and show. They show like the worst ones, but they don't show. I want to see the general sort of struggle. I want to see these guys. Oh God, yeah. Want to see their misery. Oh, but man, hey, JJ Spawn, good on you. He played the course well, hung around. That's all he needed to do. He needed to just be okay. And that's what he was. Like, early in that final round where he was 5 over, and you're like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? I think it was the fourth hole on his second shot, his approach where he fucking nailed the flag. And then the thing rolled backwards like a solid half mile. And he was left with I think he bogeyed that. No, he might have parred that hole. But I mean, his day would have been better had that. Not saying that if he, cupped it there with a birdie. I mean, an eagle. But yeah. Anyways, hey, it's always nice to see the fat guys do well. Um, Congrats to JJ Spawn. Good on him. Just consistent. And that was how you needed to play that course, is be consistent. Don't let it kill you. Don't try to be something that you're not. And you needed to putt well. And that dude, wow, that 64-foot putt to win the fucking tournament. Holy moly. Bananas. Good on you, JJ. I'm terribly sorry, but I don't know what's going on with the old throat here. This cold has lingered. Although I don't think I have a cold anymore. Now I think it's allergies. But Stanley Cup final last night. Hey, congrats to the Florida Panthers. I still fucking can't stand you or Tampa Bay. Florida team should not be playing hockey, but that's again a conversation for never. I'm happy that Brad Marchand gets to win another cup. Great, congratulations. He is the third longest wait between cups, behind Messier and I think Mark Recchi. I think that's what it was. Mark Recchi, Mark Messier. I think those two guys. Longest wait between cups. Um, he was fucking fantastic. Not last night. That was fucking Sam Reinhart and his 4 fucking goals. But fuck that team. All right. Yeah, fuck that team. Edmonton though, goddamn, you've got 2 of the best players on the planet, and it is. What is it with Canada? What is it with Canada? It's your fucking sport, and you can't figure out what you need to win. And it's the same fucking problem. Edmonton has a case of the Toronto Maple Leafs, where like your skaters are terrific, but your fucking goalkeeping is garbage. Like, can't you figure out that you need a goaltender? Like, go out and get it. Go out and get it. Like, I mean, Toronto has been phenomenal. Edmonton's been even better. But you can't fucking stop the puck. You got kids. You got kids. Shut up, David. You have fucking goalies with cobwebs between their ears. It's not good, and it's not going to win. And you know what's weird is I had to go back and look at like the '80s Oilers. Now, look, entirely different type of hockey. Okay, and I knew Grant Fuhr was good, and he was good. He was a he was a very good goaltender. Okay, is he like a Hall of Famer? I don't know. Is he? Let me double check here. If my what the fuck? No, man, no. The fuck is going on? Uh, he is a Hall of Famer. Okay, Hall of Fame goalie. Now he's a Hall of Fame goalie because he had up until the age of he retired at his last good season was in St. Louis, 95-96. Um, but even that wasn't that good. But again, entirely different brand of hockey. Okay. So from the time he was 19 when he started. 81, 82. He was fucking electric. Electric. What is going on with this entire computer? Like real time shit, folks. Anyway, so I'm looking, I'm like, this was the difference. Now, I take that back. Grant Fuhr was not the difference in them winning all those cups, but One that stood out, 87-88, which was the year that they swept the Bruins in the finals, where I think they lost. They may have lost one. I'm sorry, they lost two playoff games in the entire playoffs. They went 16-2, 87-88. And they didn't even win their division, mind you. But not the point. Fjord played 75 games that year. 75. Won the Vezina, first team NHL. He finished second in the Hart Trophy to fucking Gretzky, which reminds me, Connor Hellebuck just won the NHL MVP and the Vezina. Huh? What? Anyways, um, he was he finished the year 40, 24, and 9. He only had 4 shutouts in 75 games. His goals against was 3.43, which again for an 87-88 was pretty good. Those guys wore toothpicks for pads. But like that team was so fucking stacked, but they had a phenomenal goalie. And it was a difference maker. Okay? An absolute difference maker. They had a top 5 goalie. Get out of here. Fuck off. Uh and that made a huge difference. And so what I don't understand is how on earth do these guys not fucking get it? Like you need goalkeeping, right? I mean, is that crazy to think? You've got Connor McDavid, who is, the modern day Wayne Gretzky to an extent, right? And he's not going to win anything because your team can't fucking find a goalie. And I'm not even going to sit here and say, oh, how hard can it be to find a goalie? I don't fucking know. That's not my job. My job is to sell vacations to rich white libs. That's my job. But fucking hell, find a goddamn goalie. Trade for a goalie. You've got plenty of assets. Instead, you trade for fucking Trent Frederick. What are you doing? God damn, no knock on Trent Frederick, by the way, but holy Jesus. 87-88 Oilers. Wayne Gretzky had 149 points. He played 64 games. Oh, God. Like, honestly, his stats are so fun because they're just so stupid, right? They are. They're dumb. 87-88. I want to see. And he didn't even lead the league. That had to have been Lemieux, right? Let me see. Let me get down to the old nitty gritty here. Points 87-88. Oh, he wasn't even fucking close. There he is. Yep, second. Okay. Yep, Mario. Mario had 168. Oh, it's just fun. Hockey stats are fun. Bob Probert led the league with 398 penalty minutes. 398. It's wild. That's just cool. Anyways, getting off topic. Edmonton, please find a goalie because Canada needs to fucking win a cup at some point. Some point soon. Mhm. All right. The downside to recording in the morning. Trying to eat my breakfast and drink my coffee. Let's talk about the Boston Red Sox, shall we? Sunday night, they traded Rafael Devers for a pouch of watermelon-flavored Big League Chew, a handful of those old school baseball gumballs. Remember those? They came in different colors, and they had they said whatever it was that the baseball play, like a walk, strikeout, pop fly, home run. Yeah, those were cool, huh? Nostalgia. Yeah, those were cool. Um, and they also got a couple of minor league players and then a couple of mediocre pitchers. So, in other words, nothing. What this was they managed to convince the Dodgers to take the entire $250+ million remaining on his contract. So this was, without question, without a doubt, a salary dump. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, the Boston Red Sox, huh? Why? Why do they need to dump salary? And there's a number of different reasons for it. Speculating would just not be, I don't want to say prudent, because that's not really accurate, because it would be, but at the same time, it would be kind of stupid to sit here and try to figure out why they did it, other than being cheap fucks, which is not what they're supposed to be, right? And then there's the whole thing, and I was guilty of it because I follow Premier League soccer, and so I saw what Liverpool had done, and Liverpool being under the same umbrella as the Boston Red Sox, which is now, like, Liverpool is now the prized asset by leaps and bounds. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they changed the name to Anfield Sports Group at some point from Fenway Sports Group. See what I did there? But Liverpool just dropped 115 million pounds or whatever euro. I don't know which one they calculate it with because it ain't dollars, but I do know that they just spent the most money on a single player transfer in the history of the Premier League. It was 115 million something. And then they also signed another defender, Jeremy Frimpong, who I am quite fond of, from Germany, for about 40. And so you think to yourself, wow, geez, does Fenway Sports Group need a little more money? It is an easy comparison to make. It's an easy, cheap way to say, clearly, this is part of the reason why they did it. Now, then you have a lot of people who love to defend owners. This is the worst sports fan on earth, okay? Any fucking person who claims to be a fan of their team, sport, club, whatever you want to call it, and is licking the boots of an owner is a fucking asshole. And it goes for literally anything on the planet, right? Billionaires do not need regular people to be sucking their balls all the time. It's not needed. It's not necessary. Stop fucking doing it. All right? Stop. And it goes for business owners, sports owners, politicians, the whole fucking nines. They don't need it. Grow the fuck up. Live in your own fucking world, okay? You don't need to be doing that. Stop defending these people. They don't need your fucking defense. You want to know why? Because they could just buy it from other people. And they're just fucking ruining not just sports, but fucking everything. Everything is being ruined by fucking deep pocket motherfuckers. And it's become just so goddamn annoying where you cannot just live without having to hear about these fucking people. We are so fucking obsessed with wealth. Like, stop. Just fucking stop. You're not going. It's not as if they're going to come by, knock on your door, and hand you $1,000,000. It ain't happening. They don't want to be your friend. They don't give two fucks about you. And it just keeps getting proven over. What the fuck? So, this is a brief interlude because the host platform is garbage. I repeat, garbage. Please stand by. What is going on here? What is going on with this dog shit fucking system? I hit nothing. I touch nothing. All of a sudden, I get this pop up, unable to connect. Fuck you, you piece of fucking shit. My internet is fine. I'm fucking paying you. You fucking. Oh, fuck. See what I mean? You see what I'm fucking saying? This is what I'm talking about. Now I'm fucking red faced and fucking angry. But, anyways, look, please stop doing it. I don't know, like, there's no way to convince 3/4 of the population to stop being so infatuated with rich people, but I can ask, right? They don't fucking care about you at all. So stop. And it like John Henry does not fucking care about Red Sox fans. And he's made it just so blatantly obvious so many fucking times. Yet morons like me are still invested. Why? Because we fucking love the team. And it's one of these things that I can't fucking stand. I hate how invested I am in this shit. I hate it. I can't fucking help it. And you sit here and you listen to this shit by his two fucking puppets. He's got Sam Kennedy and he's got Craig Breslow, right? Two ball suckers who just sit there and come up with buzzwords to try to convince people what it is. I would have been far more accepting of this, right? If they just came out and said, hey, look, we had an opportunity to lower our payroll. We took it. End of statement. End of statement, right? Instead, they both get in and they start talking about alignment. You just made that up, right? That is because you don't have any. You've never had any. I shouldn't say that. You had some when Theo was here. When you had someone with fucking balls in charge who actually was in charge. Theo and Larry Lucchino and Tom Werner. And to a lesser extent John Henry at the time, but I mean it was Lucchino and it was Epstein. Those two guys were in charge before that blew up because fragile male egos, God forbid. But it's just now you have a bunch of um, ball sucking like computer nerds. That's what you've got. No knock on computer nerds, by the way. Like no offense. But this is what you have now. And so instead of just being honest, they just sit there and lie. We didn't have alignment. You didn't have alignment with a fucking 28-year-old Dominican kid who just wants to fucking play baseball. You didn't have alignment with that guy. But then you have all these again. You have all these fucking ownership ball suckers who, and I guess gotta come up with another term. I'm terribly sorry. Unoriginal. I need to come up like I don't want to say bootlicking because that's bleh, that's stupid. Ball sucking is also me, but It's a little bit more impactful, is it not? Because you're not sucking cock, you're sucking balls. And to me, that's very close to taint, which is probably the worst of the bunch, is it not? I feel that ball sucking is a touch more derogatory than bootlicking. So I'm gonna stop using that term and I'll come up with some other ones. So my apologies for being a bit repetitive. But you've got these two guys, they come out with this alignment crap. Our vision. What's your vision? Where is he supposed to be aligned? Like, what is he supposed to be aligned with? Share it. Tell us. Here's our vision. A, B, C, D. This is what we want to do. This is where we want to be. But, they don't tell you that. All they say is that there was no alignment, alignment, alignment. What does that even mean? It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Because they're going to try to come out and again, instead of just being honest, they've made the situation much worse. They've lost fans here. And again, the common sense thing is to say you lost your best player, which is fact. But this, was he hated in the locker room? Was he like a real problem? There's no way. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to believe that. Because what is it that he's done that has just been so fucking egregious? Like, they treated him like shit, and my assumption is that was part of the plan. Let's do everything we can to make him look bad so we can get rid of him. Nobody put a gun to your head, John Henry, to fucking give this kid the contract. The money that you paid him was the money, that was the market. That's the market. Now, if you want to sit there and say, well, for DH, $30 million a year is too much. Sure is. $3 million a year for a fucking baseball player is too much, but that's neither here nor there. The market dictates what he is going to make. You paid him, and now 2 years later, you regret it. And so instead of just saying that, you come out with all this fucking horseshit by sending your two fucking taint lickers out there to take bullets for you. Because that's how it fucking goes. It is it's so frustrating when I kind of think about how I've spent and invested so much of my life into this shit. And to see where it is now is just unbelievably frustrating. And I joked the last however many episodes about business over ball. It is just there is no more evidence than you could possibly need that business over ball is literally fucking stitched into the brains of all these motherfuckers. That's all they fucking care about. They do not care about you. They do not care about me. They don't fucking care about anything but the numbers at the bottom line. That's it. And that's never going to change. So, it's either we get used to it or we stop paying attention. And we won't stop paying attention because it's one of the few things that generally isn't so shit about being alive is enjoying sport, right? I can't, it's giving me way too much stress. And I should not be stressed out by this crap. It's not worth it. And yeah, this is generally a sports story, but it applies to almost anything. Where every single fucking thing now is just about money. Social media has made it 10,000 times worse. Where everyone is fucking obsessed with money. I started doing a little bit of work on this Fanatics guy, this Michael Rubin fellow. And, it's just, he's another in a long line of fucking dorks and nerds who weren't athletes and weren't cool, who, make a shit ton of money and then think they're the coolest fucking guy on the planet. sure he's a nice guy. I don't know him. I'm sure he's fine. But cut the fucking shit, dude. Like, stop. Stop with your fucking stupid white parties and fucking being Tom Brady's buddy. Enough. God damn it. Like, just so fucking frustrating. All right, I have some voicemails. Before I talk about that, I just I meant to mention, friend of the show, the Carnival Personnel podcast, Jacques Lambert. Um, there was an episode they had the other day about Jacques' sister and brother-in-law going through all kinds of bullshit with neighbors who aren't they're not even related. Elderly neighbor, elderly neighbor's sister, and the hoops that they are having to jump through as they get old. And boy, oh boy, if you are not at all familiar with what happens with the elderly in this country, it's an eye opener. Now, unfortunately, I spent a lot of time in this particular realm in a past life. But if you do not have your parents, well, let me say this: if your parents have any kind of assets whatsoever, they need to be in a trust. They need to be protected. I don't want to say get a lawyer because really, you can do a lot of these things now on your own. So you should probably do it. If you have assets and you have children, they should be protected. Make sure they're in a trust because you don't know what the fuck is going to happen. Um, it is. It was such a fucking, I'm sure it's ongoing still. But holy hell, man! Some people are just too fucking nice, and good on Jacques and his sister and his brother-in-law, who I don't know. He may have named his brother-in-law in the episode, but I don't recall it. Carnival Personnel Podcast, like, yeah, it's either the most recent or like the last or the previous one. It's an eye opener, and again, if you have assets, protect them. It's probably the only good thing about being fucking poor is that you really don't have to worry about those things when you die. But anyways, that's a little PSA. Another PSA. I wanted to start a new. I wanted you fucking moron. I wanted to start a new segment called "Podcasts You Should Actually Be Listening to." So I guess I will. Anyways, there's a podcast called "History Hit" with Dan Snow. Dan Snow is this British guy, historian. His podcast is fucking fantastic. Like, it is legitimately awesome. If you like history at all, History Hit with Dan Snow, dynamite. He's a uh you know is he a historian? He's got to be a historian technically, right? But he's also kind of he really likes um ocean going, seafaring type stories, and so he did a like a multi episode um series on Ernest Shackleton, which was just fucking must listen. He did an episode on Captain Cook a few weeks ago that I was just in love with. Like, honestly, just incredible. I loved it. I want more. Anyways, yeah, that's what you should be listening to. History Hit with Dan Snow. Anyways, all right. Friend of the show, Mike, is back. Now, some of these are a bit dated. Um, one of which did not go through. So, Mike, again, blame Google Voice. I can see you left 3 voicemails. I can see one that says 3 minutes, right? But it also says transcription not available, recording, what does that say? Recording may not process. Like, okay, so I listened to it. It's not there. So, You only get two. One of which is the continuation from the one that didn't record. So we'll start right there. Here we go.
So I got a little excited and got cut off. But like I was saying, half the fun is just being out there. And, when I say you're invited to come out fishing, that could mean just hanging out with some beers too and throwing some casts. No live bait, none of that gross stuff, no worms. Just good times. So I had to share another thing with you here, and I'm probably just rambling. So, I have my love for my Volkswagen TDI 2013 diesel dad wagon, sport wagon. It kind of has a cult following type of car. So I spent a ton on the thing over the years and it's in a place that's driving great. It's really good. It's tuned up, So we're driving through the Taunton Green the other day after basketball, me and my kids. Got windows open. Guy comes by in like an SUV, leans out the door and looks at me and goes, "I like your car." And I look, and he looks at me and he goes, "I like your car." So I had to throw him the thumbs up and the devil horns. My kids are like, "Whoa," they're super impressed. All of a sudden, instant street cred, I'm the king of the Taunton Green here in my TDI. So I thought you could appreciate that. I know the car has been a tough struggle with me over the years, and it is kind of an old piece of crap sometimes, but other times it's pretty awesome. Just like us.
A struggle over the years, and it is kind of an old piece of crap sometimes, but other times it's pretty awesome. Just like us. What a profound statement, Mike. Congratulations on the random guy in the Taunton Green, like in your car. The king of the Taunton Green. I have a feeling that guy was probably high, if it's the Taunton Green, having spent plenty of time at the Green myself over the years. Yeah, very interesting. But my assumption, based on the beginning of that, was he was talking about the invite that he extended to hang out and fish. I mean, and look, I'm happy to hang out and have some beers. It does not need to include any sort of fishing at all. Even the worm, like live bait, that's not a problem. I don't know. It's fishing is not my gag. What can you do? But yeah, hey, congrats on getting a thumbs up. What I've never received in the old 2010 Honda Fit is a "Hey, I like your car." And the poor thing is like it's hanging on by a thread. And I fear the day when it finally dies. But again, knock on wood. We're gonna hit 15 years here in a couple of months, and I'm very excited. I might have a birthday party for the Fit, Try to find a big car-sized hat that throw a cake at it. Huh? How about that? That'd be pretty terrible. But yeah. So if you ever decide to just like hang out and have beers and not fish, or not even like talk about fishing, let me know. But yeah, fishing. All right.
So our girl Caitlin Clark comes back, first game back, puts a thumping on the, at the time, undefeated New York Liberty, 32 points. They beat the Liberty by about 17 points. And now they're, the Liberty's 9-1, Fever's back. Tonight they go against the decimated Connecticut Sun, and it's just a dirty game the whole time. Caitlin Clark gets poked in the eye, shoved from this other girl, Marina Mabry, who I used to have some respect for. Later in the game, J.C. Sheldon, their guard, who's been going at it all night with Caitlin. She's going for a fast break, and Sophie Cunningham, the enforcer of the uh, of our Indiana Fever. She just drops Sheldon, you know, like a WWE move, and they just all get into the scrum. Highly suggest checking it out. But I was so perturbed by Marina Mabrey just cheap shotting Caitlin Clark. I unfollowed her, went to the comment section of the last post, and I inserted a trash emoji. That's how shaken up I was. But all good. Fever won the game by about 17 points over the 2-9 Connecticut Sun. And my Caitlin Clark shirt finally came in from Kohl's. So doing good. Back on track.
You know, I've always wanted a correspondent of some kind, and I'm so happy that the official complaints and observations WNBA correspondent Mike is on the case, giving us last night's update between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. Now, in fairness, I had to put Mike up to this because last night I actually watched 3 minutes of the aforementioned Fever v Sun matchup. So I told him, like, hey, I'm watching this game, so I expect a full report, and he came through. Shout out Mike and the WNBA. Look, I find Caitlin Clark to be a rather interesting person because I honestly think that her whole thing, she just wants to play basketball and be left alone. But that's not going to happen, unfortunately. I think maybe over time, like if she just plays basketball, like it'll be fine. And look, you can do whatever you want. You know, you're a good player. You can. If you don't want to if you want to be friends with Taylor Swift, if you want to be on Fox News, whatever you want to do, I don't fucking care. You really don't. But last night was something because there was a lot of standard professional athlete fights, slap and tickle, which in the WNBA probably has a different effect. Ho, 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 ho. What a fucking stupid thing to say. But anyway, on that note, Sophie Cunningham, what's up? Interesting matchup last night. The Connecticut Sun, Mike's not kidding, decimated, but entirely of their own doing. I have never seen a professional sports franchise like purposely ditch everybody and everything. I mean, if they're trying to tank, it's the only thing I could think of, right? Like, who's coming out next year for the WNBA? Like, what's her name at USC? Juju Watkins? Is that her name? I think it's Juju. I think it's Juju. Hold on. Yep, Juju Watkins. I was right. Yes. Women's college basketball correspondent Dave Lapointe. But yeah, last night, huh? That was something. It was interesting, But I mean, the game itself was nothing. Like it was over quickly. I'm pretty sure Indiana won by like 24 points. And hey, good for you, Mike. Your 4X Caitlin Clark shirt has finally come in from Kohl's. And it's not because he's fat, because he's not. He's just fucking, 6'9" or whatever the fuck he is. That's too funny. Like a man that big with a Caitlin Clark shirt. We're gonna need photographic evidence. That's so good. Oh man, funny stuff. Anywho, listen. Um, keep those coming, man. Keep me abreast of the WNBA. Keep me abreast of, um, as you put it, our Indiana Fever. Yeah, I'd love to know. Um, he mentioned the WWE, so I got to take this opportunity to mention the WWE. WWE. Um, They were riding a high. They were doing so well for so long. And as is how things typically go, they managed to find a way to fuck it up. First with this whole R-Truth thing where they fired him and then brought him back 3 days later because people were pissed, including pretty much everybody that worked for them. It's like, oh, maybe we probably shouldn't have fired the guy. Well, you think? But now he's not R-Truth anymore. So it kind of ruins the bit. But whatever, hey, he's back. Maybe he'll turn into the funny guy again, which is what everybody liked, after he has a run of like kicking people's asses. That would be nice. I would like to see that. I don't think that's what we're going to get. What we are going to get is Bill Goldberg. That's right, Bill Goldberg came back Monday night on Raw to confront Gunther. Bill Goldberg is 58 years old, and I looked into. Now, look, I purposely don't read the dirt sheets, the rumors, all that crap, because it ruins most of it. There are some things that like get in front of me by accident, or someone shares it with me, but I don't go out of my way because I want to be surprised. And so after Bill Goldberg showed up, after he showed up, I had to look into it. Apparently, this is going to be his retirement match. Now, I don't think the guy's wrestled for 2, maybe 3 years. So, in my mind, he was already retired. But he's going to go out, he's going to do the job, and he's going to leave his boots in the ring, probably, or some shit, while he's in his hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. Saturday night's main event, Money Grab Central. Check it out, July something or other. And he walked out to the ring, sweating, huffing and puff. I felt bad. Now look, 58, and for a normal 58-year-old man, terrific shape. But his body has probably got to be hating his guts, is my assumption. But he's gonna go out. He's gonna give it a go. I know he tried to do this once before and he blew out a knee, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. Like, I want him to go out. I want him to look okay. I want him to lose and go out a hero. That's what I would like. It would be nice. You know? But it worries me that the build-up is not going to be good. Because honestly, the entirety of the segment, 90 seconds, maybe. Like, somebody forgot the script somewhere. And it was not good. It was bad. But, they love doing that crap. They had John Cena lined up doing all this stuff, all this great, like, could have been great. And now it's kind of stagnant. I think they brought CM Punk in way too soon, so now it's going to be Cena and Punk at Night of Champions. Money Grab Central Night of Champions. Mind you, let's take all that dirty oil money we can get. Let's go. They love it. Because it's money, money, money that we're not giving to the talent. So, we'll see how this plays out. I'm very, very curious. Who knows? All right, it is time for everyone's favorite part of the show. It's the end. It is time for 3 gripes. I need to kind of, I'm fairly certain that one of those, like that fucking stupid giant rant I went on, my guess is that there's a very large gap of time where nothing happened. So hopefully you stuck around. Because you're going to miss 3 great gripes. Well, that's not true, but hopefully you stuck around. Anyways, gripe number 1, public prayer. I'll never understand people or why people feel the need to loudly pray in public. Now, in some parts of the world that is normal, it is acceptable, and it happens on a schedule. Fine, whatever. That's how it works in your country. I don't care. That's great. I'm sure it's pretty cool. A couple of times. After 5 or 6 times, it might get a touch old, but again, it's not for me. But in this instance, and I only bring this up because the other day, I'm at the golf course and I go to the ATM. Now, the ATM's in like the little public area right outside of the pro shop, and it's a right by the ATM is the function hall. And there's a group of 5 people being led in prayer by a woman who's doing so loudly, saying things to the extent of, Jesus, please see to it that such and such school is able to raise funds so that we can, yada, 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 and so on. That was a solid 60 seconds of asking Jesus for money. Now, they had just completed a tournament, a fundraising tournament that day. Like that, it had just wrapped up when I was there, probably like an hour beforehand. So they just had a fundraiser, and she's asking Jesus for even more. Classic Christianity. Let's just keep asking Jesus for things that he's not going to give you. But again, what am I saying? He's not going to give you. How the fuck do I know? But I had to look over as this is going on. And I'm like wondering if she was just going to look at me, being like, "Sir, could you spare 20 for the kids?" Like, no, keep asking Jesus. See how that goes. Gripe number 2: people who live in a bubble. This is a gripe mainly because I am just beyond jealous. Like the lack of awareness, the lack of general empathy, and just overall attention is something that I really do wish that I had, because it would probably make life so much easier and maybe even a touch more fulfilling, right? If your focus is so narrowed, then, in theory, um, anything that you do within that narrowed scope would be beneficial. So it would probably mean that you would be a bit more fulfilled and maybe a bit more happy. I don't know. But having to deal with these folks is never easy because they usually have no clue about anything except what's within their own little sphere of influence. And not that's not the right thing, but their own little bubble, basically. Getting them to make decisions is tough. Getting them to kind of just have a conversation is hard. Getting them to understand anything about what's going on outside of said bubble is hard. But on the flip side, an incredibly envious way to live. Like, that's what I wish I had. I wish I didn't care about anything. Oh, man. Nope. Instead, I sit here and yell into a microphone. Um, Gripe number 3 is South Station. Now, South Station, this is going to extend to the entire commuter rail line, the entire MBTA. What the fuck are you guys doing? And I single out South Station because the construction that's been going on there for way too long, just so they can put expensive fucking apartments and condos above South Station while basically ignoring everything on the ground level. Like, they just put a fucking Cinnabon in South Station. Like, what? A Cinnabon, which is right next to a fucking Auntie Anne's pretzels. They also have a liquor store inside of South Station, which is it's Moss Isley. And I've said that for years. That's like fucking honey to bees. Like, you get people that are like transients, homeless, that are, they could have issues with alcohol, but let's open a fucking liquor store that needs to have constant security so that people don't try to fucking break in there or just walk in and steal shit. How does that make sense? I don't know. Again, there's so many problems that could be fixed that we just choose to not fix. When I'm walking through South Station and I'm not harassed, okay? Don't make that assumption that you're being, because you're not being harassed. If somebody asks you for $1, they're not harassing you. They're trying to fucking survive. Okay? Now, if I give them $1, whatever, I don't care what they do with it. I don't care if they get food, booze, toilet paper. I don't care. Like, I don't have to do that. I don't have to be that person who's begging people for $1. And I am beyond blessed because of it. But I could be. I don't know. Who you don't know what's coming around the bend. You could be. But we choose to fucking ignore all that stuff. Because apparently those people are lesser than us. Because they're in positions that we're not. And South Station is a great example of it. Because the amount of money that is above, around that station, and then just the number of people who are there struggling is astounding. But then there's a lot of people there who aren't struggling and they're just pieces of shit anyway, so there's that too. It just and I just don't care. Like they've managed to they the, Keolis decides to add another line to this thing, to the commuter rail lineup, and it just fucks everything over. It has fucked all the other trains. It has fucked general traffic in and out of the city. It's fucked the MBTA, so like the T is all fucked up. Yeah, none of it's good. All right, listen, I am on uh Instagram at Complaints Pod. I'm at Facebook at Complaints Pod, but fuck Facebook. And honestly, fuck Instagram too, but whatever. I'm on Twitter at Complaints Pod. I'm on YouTube at Complaints Pod. You can call in and leave a voicemail 617-804-1557. Call in, complain, talk about anything. What's on your mind? And hopefully I'll be back next week. We'll see. I do want to keep yelling into a microphone, as I've said time and time again. Until that changes, I'll keep being here. So, what? I'll keep being here. Sure thing, Dave. But that'll do. Listen, as always, please, I ask you nicely, take care of yourselves and also to take care of each other. Godspeed. Ta ta.